channel. Today we are going to discuss about vertx. It's a tools which we can develop the reactive applications on the JVM. So you can develop reactive applications using vertx in different languages if you want to use Java, Kotlin, Groovy, or any other language as well which is supported by vertx. So what is vertx? Basically, why we need to use vertx in first case, right? So we have so many frameworks that we have to develop the web applications or the microservices or whatnot. So we have Java, Spring Boot, we have and Python. You have some frameworks, and different languages has the different frameworks. But why we need to take vertx? Reason for that is it's more resource oriented. So basically it's a more resource efficient. It can handle the request with the less resources compared to the traditional stacks that we have, right? So, and it is a great fit for all kinds of execution environments, and including constrained environments like virtual machines or containers. It can also perform the concurrent and asynchronous. So basically using vertx, so basically without sacrificing correctness or the performance, we can build the asynchronous based communication within the vertx, and it is more flexible too. Basically vertx is a toolkit, it's not a framework, so it's naturally very composable and embeddable. So basically that's the reason. So whatever the modules that you want to use for your application, you can choose those modules and compose them and build your own application. And moreover, it's a different way of implementing the applications basically. So, and it uses the it reduces the complexity and the costly abstraction that we have. So it is an ecosystem where you have web APIs, databases, messaging, event streams, cloud, registries, security, and lot of modules that we have within the vertx tools, basically, which we can use to build the applications. So we can build end-to-end reactive clients for any of the modern applications. So this is what, if you want to learn more about vertx, you can come back to vertx.io, where the latest version when we are recording the session is the 4.5.0. and if you have any old applications, so you can migrate to latest version of the application. So with that said, so why we need vertx basically? So if you see the current implementation, right? So, and basically is a toolkit. Vertx is a toolkit, and it's a reactive applications are both scalable workloads and resilient when failure arises. The reactive application is a responsive, and it keeps latency under control by making efficient uses of system resources and by protecting itself from errors. So basically, if you might be having a service 1, service 2, service 3, and different services are interacting one each other. So vertx currently has a lot of reactive modules, so which can use to build the modern services, and it has a comprehensive web stack, and it has database drivers, and it has a messaging and event streams, clustering, and we will go one after the other probably in coming discussion. So what makes vertx is a great option for you? Because it is more to build the cloud native applications as well as 12-factor applications. 12-factor is the great word, probably you must read if you are interested. So if you take the traditional way of implementation, we used to have a shared memory in the past, and the shared memory is being used by thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, thread 4, and to perform the different actions. So this is the beginning. We used to have the applications built on this way, and after that, if we want to do something with multi-threading, so which makes so we used to have the different threads, and multi-threads that you're going to build and to handle the workloads, right? So then if the workload grows, then there is a, in case of a multi-threading options, if the workload grows, so it would be very hard for us to maintain the applications because the resources are shared commonly. So for that reason, basically it's better to go for an asynchronous programming, so which is more kind of an it can provide the more scalability and resource efficient as well. So basically, if you take processing more concurrent connections with less threads is possible when you use the asynchronous IO. Instead of blocking a thread, when an IO operation occurs, we move one to another task which is ready to progress and resume the initial task later when it is ready. So Vertex multiplexes concurrent workloads using the event loops currently. So basically, if you see this, it kind of an event, all the events are gets looped into the event loop thread, and it will be one of each event. Once it is completed, it will be come out of the thread and it will give the response back to the application. So it's basically you have so asynchronous programming requires more efforts, that everybody knows, but at Vertex, callbacks and promises futures that later being simple and elegant model for changing the asynchronous operations, right? So basically you can even also handle the failure in case of this when something is ruined. So with that said, probably I'll show you like how you want to start the application. So if you want to start building a fun Vertex based applications, the first place we go for is the bootstrap. So bootstrap is start.vertx.io. So we can go to start.vertx.io and see like what language you want to choose. So if what is the version currently that we are using and the language that you want to choose, if you want to use the Gradle or Maven build tools that you can use, and you can provide the artifact ID. Artifact ID is my start app. Okay, so probably I will name it as my vertex startup, right? And you can use the dependencies. What are the dependencies that are required for your applications? You can use the dependencies. So basically, for example, if I say that I want to build an API, probably I might be using a web API, right? So probably I will use that web API and I generate the project. That project will be generated for you. So project will be generated for you, and project will be shown to you. It will have a sample code which has example main vertical. So this is how the main vertical looks like for you, which the vertical which is extended to an abstract vertical, and it will have a start method, and it will have renderize and web API. So if you want to develop the applications, you can use that definitely. And if you want to know more about Vertex, so we have the documentation for the Vertex over here, and Vertex core, it's actually contains the backbone of Vertex. So it provides the HTTP, TCP, UDP support and all those things. And Vertex Web, it provides the different modules to basically it's for sophisticated modern web applications or the web clients or the web APIs that we want to build. Clustering is more for cluster management that uses for different implementations. You have Hazelcast, and you have InfySpan, and you have Apache Ignite clustering and Apache Jupyter clustering that is supported by the Vertex. If you want to test the applications that you built, it will support the JUnit 5 and Vertex unit. And it also provides the JSON schema standard, URI template, and it provides the Vertex OpenAI, OpenAPI and Vertex OpenAPI routers as well. It also supports the plugins for Kotlin, Groovy, and this is the best thing that you might be looking for. Authentication and authorization that you want to build for your applications. And there are different modules that are used, that are provided by Vertex to integrate with your respective databases. You have support for Postgres, MySQL, DB2, Oracle, MS SQL, SQL client templates, MongoDB, Redis client, Cassandra, and rest of the things. If you are looking for if you are looking for the messaging, so messaging, you have a Kafka client, you have AMQP client, RabbitMQ client, MQTT client, and whatnot. So these are the most popular messaging queues, I would say. Probably if you want to integrate with your queues, these are the clients provided by the Vertex. When you look for the proxies, so in integration perspective, you have a Vertex HTTP proxy, and you have a mail client which is used to send the emails, and Stomp and console client as well. And you also have event bridges. So you have the event bridges for TCP and Camel bridge as well. For monitoring, you have Zipkin, OpenTelemetry, OpenTracing, Open metrics using Drop Wizard, metrics using Micrometer, Health Check. And if you want to build the services, you have the service proxies, SubJS service proxies, and Vertex gRPC and gRPC Netty. If you want to build the applications in the reactive programming, you have the support as well, and you can use that. But when you want to have the microservices, or if you can build the service discovery using Vertex, and you can also have the configure the Vertex applications, and you can also have the circuit breaker. And for the DevOps use cases, you have Shell, which you can use the applications using the client interface. So these are the different modules that provided by Vertex, and it's a whatever the use case that you are looking for. Mostly I feel like all the use cases that you have in place for the Vertex. So with that said, I will show you like one small application how I did the development. So basically, if you see, I have a small application which is a main application, and my main application which will be having some kind of 3 different verticals that I am deploying to this in this particular application. And I'll share you the Git repo in the description. You can refer to the Git repo to go to this repository and see how the things have been implemented. But if you see the pet store, so this is a simple application which interacts with the pet store API, and the pet store API has a YAML file which is like this, so which is built on top of OpenAPI. And pet store, if you are aware of the pet store, so you will be having the pet store implementation is a standard API. So probably if you look for pet store, yeah, you have this Swagger, and using this you can create or delete or do any kind of operations on this pet store API. So for that, using that, what I did basically for the pet store application, so as I was mentioning earlier, so we created the HTTP server, and there is a start method when I have overridden from the abstract vertical. This start method takes care of basically it's a route builder, and basically it's creating the route, and this is the different APIs that I have exposed. Route builder operation. One is the list pets and create pets, and you have a show pets by user ID, pet by ID, and at the end, using that route builder, I have continued the creating the router, and router is being used to initialize the application. So my application is currently running on 8090 port, and whenever we stop the application, the server will be closed, and rest of the methods that you have in this is basically these methods that are access the data. So if you look into this, so as I was mentioning, I was saying that localhost colon 8090. So basically if you see this is something which is not bound, right? So but if I look for the APIs that we have, so for example I would say like get pet, list pets, so shows the list of pets that we have in the application, and the same way create pet shows the uh, applications that we have for the creation of the pet. And yeah, the same way that you have for all the show pet id is also gives the show pets. Okay, so the some way it's a similar way. I have something called user management, and I was trying to run this user management the application on 809091 pets 91 port. I'm sorry. So this is also something like create a user, read a user, and get the user. So those kind of things that we have on this particular application. So yep, coming on to the I can share you the git repository in the description section, and you can use the git repository to load the applications in your local, and see like how you can get the hands on the vertex applications. Okay, so that's what I thought of covering for today on this discussion. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you.